Hello, good evening, welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live Money News up here at Adesawe Kanda. We're also live on 3FM 927 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also listen to us on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and also on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. You can also listen to us all across the world on 3news.com. We're very, very interactive on all the issues going to be discussing for the next 60 minutes here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, serves notice of intention to embark on a nationwide strike on August 1 over failed service conditions implementation by government. Also, with Ghana's health sector experiencing mass exodus of professionals in search of greener pasture, the Ghana Medical Association calls for urgent government intervention to stem the tide. Also, the majority leaders and also the leadership of the Che Mensah Bonsu-led NPP in Parliament says Dr. Bawumia remains the NPP's best ticket to win the 2024 general elections, arguing his support stems from consultation with his constituents who are clamoring for the vice president. We'll give you details of why the majority leader is now coming out clearly to declare support for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Stay with us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, and whether his open declaration of support is going to make any significant difference for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's chances at the flag bearership of the NPP. We'll get into some analysis as we go on this evening. Let's get into the details now. The Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, has served notice of their intentions to withdraw services effective August 1, 2023. Their decision follows the non-compliance of government to implement the National Labour Commission's arbitral award orders and the negotiated conditions of service since May 2, 2023. Teachers across the 46 colleges of education in January embarked on an indefinite strike over the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission protracted negotiations for new conditions of service. The action was eventually called off following interventions by the National Labour Commission, which subsequently saw the introduction of compulsory arbitral orders for new conditions of service for the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana. However, the agreed negotiations between the two parties have since not materialized, despite several letters of notice to the Ministry of Finance. Prince Obeng-Hima is president of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, that's CTAG. He's connecting with me on the telephone. So, Obeng-Hima, thank you so much for joining us here on Hot Edition. Now, I read and I recall in January when you went on this nationwide strike, just to refresh our minds, what exactly was agreed upon, which has led to this decision for you to go on strike again?
Alfred, good evening to you and good evening to your cherished listeners out there. I just wish to reduce our issues to three. And I'm happy you have taken us back to memory lane. The issues have been back and forth. We were negotiating. We felt the fair wages wasn't showing good faith. So we went to the National Labour Commission and we even triggered compulsory arbitration. But they put in place neutral arbiters made up of people from selected, sector, people coming from the employers association and what have you, and they were completely neutral. So each party, CTAG and Fair Wages, had to come up with a narrative. After listening to both parties, indeed on the 2nd of May this year, the National Labour Commission came out with their ruling, in which, even though we're asking that the conditions of service should take effect from 1st January 2022, but in the opinion of the National Labour Commission, they said no, it should be 2023 January. And we were also asking that the fact that we have done all year round teaching, our members should be compensated. And we're asking for 2 months gross salary for our members. But in the opinion of the commission, they said no, you will have to be given only 1 month. We agreed to that. Immediately after that, we met with the fair wages and signed off to this agreement, and it went to the finance ministry. So we were expecting that at least for May, the practicality of having all these things paid in May, knowing the rigorous processes that controller goes through to effect salary payment wasn't there. So we agreed that maybe by June it will be paid. May went, it wasn't paid. June ended, it wasn't paid. And we are going into July. And what that means is that we continue to be on the 2021 expired conditions of service. And you can imagine in this biting economy, when we have to still draw the allowances we are drawing in 2021. So in the face of all these challenges that our people are facing, that is why we're saying that we wouldn't wait till July and then before we start playing war drums. We just want to come out clear. So that if the government has any good intention, they will go through the process at the controller to ensure that the agreed upon allowances and then the compensation for the whole year-round teaching is, effected at the end of July. And we're also saying that there is no way you can compensate life with money. So the all year-round teaching is having a toll on us. It's killing us softly. So whatever thing that has to be done to ensure that it ends, it has to be done. So that come the beginning of next academic year, wouldn't have, because our members are no longer interested in that. So these are the issues.
I see. If you say the all-round teaching is killing you softly, what do you mean? What is entailed in this all-round teaching you're talking about?
What it means is that because we do not have adequate facilities on campus to accommodate all the 4 cohorts of students, all the 4 levels of students, arrangements are made such that at any point in time we have 2 cohorts on campus, let's say levels 100 and 200. As soon as they get to the middle of the semester, they break, go home, and when they break on Friday, Sunday, the other cohorts are coming to take up their positions in their halls of residence, in the lecture halls, the dining hall, and what have you. And the implication this has on the teachers is that it's the same set of teachers who have to shuttle between, these cohorts here and there. It means that we have to work all year round. So some people who have had to teach, all the students, we remain on campus all year round. And I think it's a violation of the Labor Act. So that's why we're saying that we ask for compensation the other year that we did, which has not even been paid. And it's killing us softly because people have to work all year round. We can't have any break. We are falling, sick, and we still have to work. That's why we're saying that we don't want to start, because what we cannot complete, we do not even have to start at all. So that we'll let government know that we are simply not interested in going around that tangent. So if we are going to adopt the in, out system, like what's done in other tertiary schools, then we'll think about it and have it done. Because no law says tertiary students have to be compulsorily kept on campus and fed.
Well, that's serious. You're saying that your College of Teaching teachers don't have any break. You teach throughout the year, all 12 months. You are in the classroom.
Exactly the situation. Exactly, because all year round we are teaching. When 2 cohorts of the students go down, at least within the next 3 days or so, other cohorts also come. So we have some people who are teaching all year round, and even some of them who do not have to teach all year round. You are playing other auxiliary purpose or functions. You are a hall tutor. You have to be around because students are there. You are doing supported teaching, supervision. Once students are around, even if you are not in the classroom teaching, you have to be around to provide that support to those who are teaching for the college to be functional.
I see. Now, beyond that, in the statement that you issued, from the understanding you're giving me, the agreed conditions of service is expected to take effect by end of this month, correct?
We're expecting that it will be paid at the end of this month.
At the end of this month?
Sure.
Okay, but where then do you point to the surprise of the Ministry of Finance refusing to act on the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission letter together with the National Labour Commission's arbitral orders, in spite of the letters that you wrote or which had been written to the Ministry of Finance requesting immediate implementation of the negotiated agreements if the period of payment hasn't elapsed as yet?
Like I earlier on said, the ruling of the National Labour Commission of the compulsory arbitration came out on the 2nd of May. So if we had good intentions to pay, at least, or to respect the, verdict, or to keep it, running, at the end of that May, they could have done. If that was not possible, June, we had a full month. They could have done. It's not been done. So I think if we have to go through what we went through from 2021 up to when we triggered the compulsory arbitration to complete a simple process of negotiation, and after we finish with that, it has to end at the National Labour Commission, and the months are still counting. I think we have every legitimate reason to suspect that feet dragging regarding payment of the fine.
I see. But has there been any response so far from the Finance Ministry as to why, even after the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has written to them, National Labour Commission has given arbitral orders, they have still failed to heed to these orders? Why is that the case? Have they given you any indication as to their inability?
But I just have to be frank with you that we follow through. We are aware that the Fair Wages wrote to the Finance Ministry immediately after the two parties signed off. SETAG and the Fair Wages. Even though they did not give us a copy as a union that is interested in the matter, we followed through and intercepted a copy of that letter. And we are sure we can produce that evidence that the Fair Wages wrote to the Finance Ministry, asking them to go ahead to, as it were, pay. And it's the Finance Ministry that should be able to tell why they've not been, or they've not done that. They have not written to us. They've not offered any explanation to us. But we do not just want to wait and wait. That is why we're saying that, in fairness, if we are demanding that we should be paid something at the end of the month, knowing the processes that payroll, go through before salaries get paid, we have to raise the alarm now so that they will be able to go through what they have to do and then pay at the end of the month.
I see. So in such situations, it's either the National Labour Commission is stepping in and asking you not to go on strike and having the parties sit down to negotiate. They've done their job, issued arbitrary orders. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has also done its job. So what is going to take you to the point where you would reconsider this decision of going on strike by August 1?
I think what will let us backtrack will be having the allowances paid to us at the end of the month, alongside the arbitral award for the all year round teaching at the end of the month, July.
Mr. Obehima, appreciate your time and thank you. We're going to be asking questions of the Finance Ministry as well. In fact, we've been trying to get through to a number of them, and also the Education Committee of Parliament on this matter. The Education Committee indicates that yes, they are aware of these arbitrary orders to the Finance Ministry by the National Labour Commission on your behalf. But as to why the Finance Ministry hasn't released funds as yet, that is a question they cannot also answer. So we'll be getting some responses, as and when we do, definitely we'll get back to you on this. Thank you, sir.
Very grateful to you too, sir.
Great. That's Prince Obehima. He is the president of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG. They've given notice of embarking on a nationwide strike beginning August 1. In fact, their decision follows the non-compliance of the government to implement the National Labour Commission's arbitrary award orders and the negotiated conditions of service since May 2, 2023. In fact, we've seen copies of letters written by the National Labour Commission and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to the Finance Ministry for this particular order to be complied with, but no responses as yet. So this is something we're keeping a close eye on as we are at it. The Ghana Medical Association is also calling for urgent intervention by government to stem the tide and the mass exodus of medical professionals. Now, it follows revelation that some 304 health workers mostly nurses in the Ashanti region, left the shores of the country in the first quarter of the year in search of greener pastures elsewhere. And these are mostly the experienced professional nurses in the Ashanti region. The UK has been the most preferred destination. Already, the brain drain is said to be taking a toll on healthcare delivery, as those who are mostly living are the skilled hands. Ashanti Regional Health Director Dr. Emmanuel Tinkrem is worried about the situation.
Gifty Nelson, a midwife by profession, sells gari and beans to support her family. She intends to travel outside to seek better condition of service. The only thing keeping her is her young family.
Because living in Ghana as a nurse or a teacher, when you are single, I think it will be better. But when you start making a family, you cry your way out.
Records from the Ashanti Regional Health Directorate indicate some 304 health workers, mostly nurses, have left the shores of Ghana in the first quarter of this year.
About 304 of our staff requested for leave without pay. That means that they've left the service.
United Kingdom has been the most preferred destination. Regional Health Director sounds alarm this could affect quality health care delivery, as those leaving are the skilled hands.
They've been trained for years. They have the right knowledge, the right skills, and then the right attitude to provide the service. It's worrying.
But not all health workers would want to leave despite their current condition. A senior nursing officer at Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, Catherine Crunchy Eastwood, noted the exodus of nurses is not a new trend, but the current numbers are frightening.
Because, for instance, I listened once to a program being organized in relation to the International Nursing Program in Canada, and the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, had some talks with people. So it came up that currently there are over 16,000 applications at the Ministry of Health, and these people are looking for clearance just so they can leave. And there should be a reason why these countries who are recruiting are looking for experienced nurses. But I'm happy working in Ghana and serving Kumasi especially.
She admonished the government to motivate health professionals, sacrificing to stay in Ghana with opportunities for career advancement and provision of basic social amenities in hard-to-reach areas. Sustainable Development Goal 3 underpins the need to ensure healthy lives and promoting well-being of all ages in all communities.
They've been trained for years. They have the right knowledge, the right skills, and then the right attitude to provide the service. It's worrying.
Well, that report ending with the voice of Dr. Emmanuel Tinkrem, Ashanti Regional Director of Health, indicating how much they're losing these experienced health professionals to the greener pastures, and mostly in the UK. In fact, we have statistics from the Health Global Economy, which indicates that from the period of 2022 to date, Ghana ranks 16th of 53 countries in Africa for human flight and brain drain, 30th of some 177 countries globally. And also, just last month, there was a United Nations Health Report, also conducted by the World Health Organization's Health Workforce Support List 2023, which indicates that 55 countries globally face health workers crunch. And Ghana, part of this 55, we are the 16th country of the 55 countries facing health worker crunch globally. That's certainly quite worrying, to say the least. And these are some of the major reasons for the nurses emigrating in Africa, especially with respect to the Ghanaian situation. The economic situation, in fact, is the number one. 44% of the respondents, nurses who are leaving the country, say they're living because of the economic situation to go and seek greener pastures outside of the country. Also, the second reason is education. 41% of the respondents say they're leaving Ghana to especially the UK and the US for educational purposes, and 25% of the respondent nurses say they're living for new experiences. And then also in the fourth case, some of them complained about corruption, and then others also talked about personal freedom. Family reunion follows in that order, with 9% of the respondents saying they are reuniting with their families. And then also the eighth was also issues about security, which was more dominant in the respondents in Nigeria. Nigerian nurses who were leaving to the UK say they were leaving for security purposes. And then the last is the 7% of the respondents saying they were leaving because of issues related to religion as well. So these are some of the reasons why these persons are leaving the country. In fact, in 2022, some 1,200 nurses reportedly left Ghana to work in the UK. And that even though a lot of the conversation has been about nurses, a lot of doctors are also leaving, and the Ghana Medical Association is concerned about that. Now, let's broaden the tentacles of this conversation a bit further, and Dr. Richard Salome is connecting with us on the telephone for a brief conversation on this. Dr. Richard Salome, thank you so much for your time here on Hot Edition. First of all, the focus has been on nurses over time, but there is also the situation with doctors, is it not? How bad is the situation with the doctors leaving the country to seek greener pastures outside?
Thank you, and greetings to your listeners. The situation is as dire as for doctors as it is for nurses. In terms of numbers, I believe you would notice that nurses are a bit more in terms of numbers. However, we still need more. The thing with doctors is that we have doctors also leaving in their numbers. At the last check, Medical and Dental Council had informed us that on a month-to-month basis, you have about 100 doctors seeking clearance to leave the country. Now, if it was just even those who had just completed, who are at home and maybe not being posted that are leaving, you would say that probably it is not as serious. But you have more experienced people, specialists, leaving the country. And then also now, some of the countries are waiving license requirements for specialists to even leave. So you have a whole community where there's no obstetrician gynecologist or an internal medicine or a physician specialist, and then he has the opportunity to leave. That leaves a whole community or a district having to seek all this specialized care that he or she was providing at faraway centers. And this is getting very, very worrying for the association as well.
I'm sure that this is not the first time this issue is coming up. I recall the last time we had this conversation, the Minister of Health was talking about improved conditions of service and so on. Has anything tangible been done to address concerns that doctors have raised? Reason why we're losing professionals, experienced doctors to greener pastures outside of this country?
Well, regrettably, I would say no. Not much has changed. The thing is that with migration of workers or labor, there are the push and the pull factors. With the general economic climate, things have gone worse for us. In fact, salaries were better in terms of dollar terms and what they purchasing power almost 10 years ago than they are today, because the same amount of salary you received then, which was equivalent to about $1,000, now that, for example, myself as a specialist who has practiced for over 6 years, is lower than that. So then you begin to ask yourself, what has changed? We are talking about basic amenities, working conditions, conditions of service, especially for those working in the rural and underserved communities where the care is most needed. All these are still pending, and we are not seeing a particularly serious effort to address some of these challenges. And that is why not much has changed, and people are still leaving.
And, when we talk about the situation of the nurses, last time we said that the statistics of one nurse to 1,000 patients, the Minister of Health said that the situation had improved from one nurse to 839 patients. What is the situation with the doctors in terms of the ratio?
Yes, you see, the thing with ratios, I would better we don't go around with ratios. These are averages, okay? These are averages. And averages don't tell the true picture until you disaggregate them. So, for example, if you took Accra, Accra is choked with doctors. But if you just stepped outside Accra a little, you realize that the average, which would have told you that, oh, Accra is probably even saturated, because Kolebu probably has over 1,000 doctors, Rich has many, 37 is there, UGMC and other places. You realize that just go outside Accra a little, or just move a little away from Kumasi, the big centers, and you realize that the condition is bad. So even internally, we have big problems with distribution. So yes, we are training a little bit more doctors, but we are still losing them, and most of them are refusing postings to where they are needed because the conditions there are not good. The roads are so bad. You don't have good schools that your children can also go to. You have barely poor amenities. Some places you don't even have good water, running water to work with. You go to places where you are skilled, but you don't have the requisite equipment and logistics to be able to take care of patients. I mean, I was in War Memorial Hospital about 3 weeks ago, and the whole hospital had not had oxygen for almost 1 whole month. And the doctor at post, there are only 2, were concerned because there are times they need to get people oxygen. And this is the second largest facility in the whole of the Upper East region, and they don't have oxygen. They don't have what you would call a fully functional theater. They don't have an ICU, and they always have had to refer patients downwards. In such situations, you can talk about averages as you like across the country, but those 2 doctors manning the second largest healthcare facility in the whole of the Upper East region, that average does not even apply.
This is serious, to say the least. The kind of picture that you're painting, in fact, that's the reality of the situation on the ground. And the focus on these hard-to-reach communities is what even brings about a different dynamic or angle to the conversation about the impact of the exodus of both nurses and doctors from this country. But for you as an association, you had made some recommendations to government. What are those to help address this situation that we're dealing with?
Well, as part of our efforts to help government with tabling various discussions to improve the working conditions of doctors and other healthcare workers, last year, for example, we were keen on addressing the issue about doctor distribution across the country, and that was the main theme of our Congress. As part of the things that we tabled as policy proposals for government was fast-tracking and actually making work what we were calling the rural incentive package. This was a mix of proposals that was discussed with various actors at the table, including government, so that those who accept postings to this place can have a little bit of comfort. Not so much comfort per se, but a little bit of comfort. Is the opportunities to go for postgraduate training, making sure that they get some allowance to cater for some basic things, some good amenities for them to be able to work with, training opportunities. All these have been tabled, they've been discussed up to a point, but then there's the usual inertia again, and we believe that government should be taking serious some of these ones. We've also talked about working conditions, retooling of some facilities, key facilities where specialists and other professionals, we are training nurse specialists, pharmaceutical specialists, etc., but they come back to the same working conditions without equipment, without the necessary logistical support. And then over time, if you are a professional, you feel unfulfilled in your skill set that you've developed, and you may have to look at other places where you feel like you can work, get fulfilled both in your skill set and as well as economically remunerated for the skill set that you possess and have been trained for. So these are some of the things we have tabled, and we believe that government would need to pay a serious attention to this matter. We are building 111 hospitals. We would need human beings, professionals for that matter, to man this facility. And we would not just need all cadres per se, but people who are experienced to be able to start these places and render the services that are needed. And that is why we must pay serious attention before we run out of the professionals that can deliver the quality care that we want to deliver to the people.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for these recommendations as well. And we'll put it through to the Health Ministry for some responses. Doc, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's Dr. Richard Salome. He is the Acting General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association there. So live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also live on KESME 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. You can also watch us live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're streaming live at 3FM 927. Listen to us all across the world on 3news.com. And the minority in Parliament says it will report the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Brian Champon, to the Speaker of Parliament for misconduct. Now, the Agric Minister last Friday, if you recall, clashed with the minority group, including the leader, Dr. Kesela Tofosin, during a fact-finding visit to the National Food Buffer Stock Company to ascertain the delay in paying free senior high school food suppliers who had been picketing at the company's premises. The minister openly confronted the minority leader, leading to a heated verbal exchange. This is what happened on Friday.
So we'll ask the minister. So we can take it from the minister himself. So we don't need to. We need to see the minister. Minister. Why can't we do that? We can't do our work. Why can't we?
This inorganic picketing, you can't do that.
We can't do our work.
We are here to help them.
We can't do our work.
You are former deputy finance minister. What do you know about these payments? What do you know about paying people or payments that are delayed? You're former finance minister.
So are you saying?
Your first thing was you get angry that we are here.
You should be the last person to get angry.
You
should be the last person to get angry.
member of parliament.
No, you should be the last person to get angry.
Are you angry because we are
finding solutions to the challenges?
for doing our
Are you angry because we are finding solutions? If you could have solved it, we would have been here. You don't do that. You should be the last person to get angry. Are we not members of parliament? We are all stakeholders in the governance of this country. Is that what you're saying? You shout at us like that, please. You don't do that. You don't do that.
I'm saying that.
You came and said disrespect. It is quite disrespectful.
I'm not going to accept this. I won't accept this.
You don't do that. You don't do that.
Young man, I won't accept this.
You don't do that.
You
must be told in plain language.
But what I'm saying is that
this measure must come to an end.
To solve this problem. This inorganic picketing should not be accepted.
We are not going to.
And encouraged. So you don't bring press to a reception.
This is the parliamentary press.
No, leader. You are a leader.
Yes.
You are a minority leader.
So you like
what is your problem? What is your problem?
That should stop.
What is your problem?
No, let me say what you're trying to I'm here to address you. As soon as
and then we all talk.
We are ready to we know what to do.
We want to talk to you.
We know what to do.
Well, so that's Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa saying they know as minority what to do in Parliament. Well, he has indicated exactly what they intend to do. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa says they will formally report the Minister of Agric, Brian Champon, to the Speaker of Parliament for action to be taken. He says the minority may boycott the Minister if he does not render an apology for his conduct.
Tomorrow morning,
Right.
we will be formally reporting his conduct to the Right Honourable Speaker. And we will be asking Parliament to take a serious view of that. Because we don't want this is very terrible precedent, this bad conduct, to be seen by other ministers as something that they can even dare to contemplate. So we will be formally asking the Speaker to act. And remember that, ministers can be disciplined. Parliament can even decide that we would not entertain business of ministers who misconduct themselves to parliamentarians. And we can even decide that any matter that comes from his ministry will not receive our approval. We will not work with him and all of that. If he does not quickly come and render an apology and purge himself of of that kind of conduct.
Samuel Akujeto Ablakwa. Meanwhile, the National Food Suppliers Association of Ghana says it expects government to honor its pledge to pay them by next week. According to the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Brian Champon, government will start disbursing funds to the suppliers from July 17. Spokesperson for the food suppliers, Kweku Amedome, says they would hold the minister to his words.
We left because, number one, we think that we have created a more awareness than we have been doing all this year. And number two, the suppliers, you see, some are aged between 64, 70, and 80. And we feel that exposing them at this time with this weather condition over the 4 days we've been there, it's going to be hazardous to their health condition. And so we thought that having created the awareness and having made the minister having had the opportunity to break it to the media that they are making plans to pay us by 17. You bear as witness to this statement. All other media houses bear as witness to this statement that the minister has made a public statement that he's going to pay in 17th of this month. And so failure to pay, his credibility, that is questionable.
As Koko Medome there. So live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, getting to your election command center now and the NPP's flag bearer race. What we do know today is that the party's vetting committee has presented its report. My colleague Christian Yale is at the headquarters of the NPP, is going to be joining us shortly. But Majority Leader and Member of Parliament for the Swame constituency, Oseiche Mensah-Bonsu, says Dr. Bawumia remains the NPP's best ticket to win the 2024 general elections, arguing his support stems from consultation with his constituents who are clamoring for the vice president. This was Oseiche Mensah-Bonsu in an exclusive interview with the parliamentary correspondent Evelyn Tengma earlier today.
At the time, I was a minority leader. I'd gone in the company of was it Avoka? Avoka was the majority leader. Cletus was the majority leader. So the leadership had gone to visit. And E.T. Mensah was introducing us, each one of us, to him. So when he got to my turn, Che Mensah-Bonsu, the minority leader, then he turned to E.T. Are you the one to introduce Che Mensah-Bonsu to me? Young man, you are doing exceedingly well. I'm quoting Rollins. You are doing exceedingly well. And you know you have the potential of leading this country. And all of us stood still. And he told me, but wait until my wife becomes the president. Right? I mean, he said this to the hearing of all of us. So it means that willingly I must become the president of the country. Oh, you see, there is a season for everybody. In 1992, when we started, we had many people come in, but the populations were all rooting for then candidate Professor Dubai. Right? That was 1992. So when they had the contest, more or less there was no contest. Then 1996, Dubai started having some health problems and couldn't move as much as he had desired to do. President Kufuor, candidate Kufuor, failed him hugely, and in the contest he emerged the strongest. People voted for him. And he followed up in 1998 with massive victory. Right? So there's a season for everybody. In 2008, when President Kufuor was exiting, a lot of stories like now being bandied about that, the system was supporting Alan Jamatin. Right? Did it go well for him? It didn't. Because it was a Kufuor season. And he won massively. Right? He won. He won decisively. He won decisively. Then came 2012. What happened? he swept the day. 2016, he swept the day. So there's a season for any politician, and you seize it. That's what it is. If you ask me, I think the tide has swung hugely in favor of Dr. Bawumia. It is not in any way to derogate from the effort of Alan. No. And that is why, at the very outset, I was proposing that we put the two together. And if there's a contest, then it becomes difficult, especially when some of the followers have started throwing jibes and, making huge misrepresentations about some of us. It becomes then difficult to have that team together. Even though I would have thought that is talking about 2020, 2021, even 2022. Now there are so many people in the field and, making huge misrepresentations about some of us. It becomes then difficult to have that team together. Even though I would have thought that is talking about 2020, 2021, even 2022. Now there are so many people in the field.
And that's Oseche Mensah-Bonsu, Majority Leader, Member of Parliament for the Swame constituency. In that exclusive interview, my colleague Evelyn Timma. More of it you can find on 3news.com. Let's cross over to the national headquarters of the NPP, where the vetting committee of the party has presented the report of the 10 persons who were vetted. The Honorable Obi Amoah is a spokesperson for the committee. He's been speaking. My colleague Christian Yale is connecting with us live from there. Christian, what more do we know about what's been happening so far? Hello, Christian.
Hello, Alfred.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. Now, what's the committee been saying to you?
All right. So, as expected, the NPP timeline for the flag bearer, election. Today, the committee submitted its report. That was after almost an hour of a closed-door meeting between members of the committee and the party's national council. So we have been speaking to the committee to sort of try to get a hint or an idea of what we should all expect from their report. They declined to give us details, but I've been speaking to the spokesperson to the committee, Alfred Ocansey, who said that they have done their part, and even as of today, we can say that the committee has been dissolved. So any issue relating to the NPP's flag bearer election and the processes surrounding it should be, referred to the party who are now having the custody or who are now in charge of anything concerning it, since they have the full grasp of the report. We can listen to him.
That's the work we're asked to do. We're given a deadline, and we've met the deadline. By 2 o'clock, we're here with the General Secretary and his team. We submitted our report. So the process will go on. The General Secretary will take the report through steering committee up to National Council, and the process goes on. So as at this point, there's nothing like vetting committee for me to be speaking for vetting committee. So if you want anything, you talk to the party, because we finished our work.
So may we know some of the things you considered when you
want me to give you the contents of the report? You will not get it from me. We can't give you the contents of the report.
Summarily, what can you say about what you have done so far?
We had a press conference on Thursday. You asked all the questions. We gave you all the answers. We told you today we were submitting our report. We submitted the report.
So summarily, what can you tell us?
Unless you want me to tell you the contents of the report, which is not possible.
The last time you told us that you were satisfied with the conduct.
I'm saying that the committee has concluded its work. So me standing here, technically speaking, I'm not speaking for any committee. I'm just letting you know that we've completed our work and we've submitted a report to the party. If the party is interested in making you know the contents of the report, it's up to the party. So for us as vetting committee, I cannot stand here and tell you about the contents of the report.
You can't tell us whether someone was disqualified or has been qualified?
Even as of Thursday, we heard people were ready to make stories that 3 people, 4 people, 5 people have been disqualified. It's their own speculation.
It's not true?
It's their own speculation.
Do you foresee any disqualification of any candidate?
Foresee? When I was part of it.
So we are likely to see some...
I was part of it, so why do you talk about foreseeing? It's either knowing or not knowing.
So we are likely to see some aspirants being dropped.
You can't go and create your own headlines. Whether we are likely to see or we are not likely to see. The party has a report. The report is in the custody of the party. If the party is interested in letting the public know any part of the report, it will be up to the party.
Well, so that's Obiamo there. So, Christian, all of you journalists who went there have left without any knowledge of the details of the report, is it not?
Exactly. So tomorrow there will be a steering committee meeting, after which the report will be published. Now, what that also means is that if it comes up that anyone is disqualified, such aspirant has up to 14 days to make an appeal or otherwise. Now, it is also expected that on July 24, there will be a balloting exercise for all those who qualify. And then if more than 5 of the 10 aspirants who went through the vetting are passed to the next stage of the process, then we should expect a national or a special delegate conference of about 900 delegates who would then trim down the number to 5 for the election.
Christian, thank you very much. It's live from the NPP headquarters. It's now time for business. Nanekyo Mensa Brampa is in yellow here. Good evening.
Hi, Alfred. I'm liking your colors as well.
Yeah, blue and yellow.
I know, right? It's a blend.
Great Olympics.
Let's do business now. Good evening to you. And this is Business on Hot Edition with me, Nana Ikuya Mensa Brampa. And fuel pump prices could escalate if the Bank of Ghana heeds to a call by the International Monetary Fund to suspend its targeted dollar support to bulk oil distributing companies. That's according to energy strategist and chief executive of Eureka, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana. The Bretton Woods Institution made this recommendation as part of measures to safeguard the value of the city, ensuring financial stability and shoring up external reserve under the fund management. But speaking to 3 Business, Dr. Suleimana said the sale of the forex to BDCs is a needs-based support.
Bank of Ghana is supporting these BDCs not by virtue of the fact that they just have the dollar to spare. It's a need-based support. And they know the repercussions. Assuming Bank of Ghana is to pull out completely, then we might not be able to arrest our pump prices. And I'm saying that because we need a huge amount of money, from $350 to $400 million on monthly basis to be able to get these finished products into the country. That is very huge. And so for Bank of Ghana to even contribute 120 in support of that, it's still going to be a little bit of challenge, because it means that the rest of the 300 to 250, they have to source it out externally. And this dollar supply demand is a huge market. Once you have a bit of constraint, then the prices could go up. I mean, the exchange rate could go up. So clearly the exchange rate dynamics plays a major role in what the consumer pays at the pump, in addition to the taxes and what the commodity sells in the international space.
And that was energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleimana. The Cybersecurity Authority has encouraged or is encouraging businesses to do due diligence when it comes to online transactions. Head of Computer Emergency Response Team at the authority, Stephen Kuju Seshi, encouraged entities to take steps in keeping their businesses secured from online fraudsters.
Don't just trust any engagement that comes online and then start transacting business. You should do a certain level of due diligence. So for example, if you are in a textile business and somebody contacts you online and says, I can supply you dye, there are things you can do. You need to verify the identity of who's engaging you in the first place. Do they have a physical address that you can contact them on if they supply you and you actually have any issues? So don't just transact like that. In fact, when it comes to even how you do your payments, you need to do some checks. If it's mobile money, for instance, you want to be sure that the name behind it matches the organization in terms of registration. If the company is ABCD company that supplies your dye, and then you go and on the number mobile money transactions is Kofi Minu, you need to be very careful and make sure that you are dealing with the right people. So in general, it's about due diligence. Do the checks with whoever you're engaging online.
Was the head of Computer Emergency Response Team at the Cybersecurity Authority, Stephen Kujo Seshe. Just before we go, the Ghana Tourism Authority is currently working to introduce virtual reality at various tourism sites in the country. This forms part of efforts to boost tourism and make Ghana a tourism destination. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Agyemang, says the authority is making all efforts to ensure Ghana is not left out in the modern technology age in the tourism ecosystem.
We have a single window platform that is AI enabled. We have an app and all that, but the technology is moving so fast that even within a month, if you're not careful, you fall back. I mean, we also, like just a few days ago, the meta trades that have been launched, which is now competing strongly with Twitter. So you can't rest on your horse and say, I developed it, and so it is okay. So we are going to catch up with every technology that is out there. So far, we are doing well with Visit Ghana app, with our Visit Ghana online platform, with our social media pages, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, and the rest. But that should not end it. What we're looking to do is the virtual reality bit. How do we entice people to travel to some of these sites? At least people need a sneak preview of some of the sites and what is available there.
Akwesi Agyemang, that is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, ending a 4 business news on Hot Edition with me, Nana Ikuya Mensah Brampa. Log on to 3news.com for more business news updates. It's time for sports, and Kelvin is standing by.
Well, thank you so much, Naneke, and we're still on the GFA 29th ordinary session of the Congress. Well, it happened today at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology's Great Hall. And speaking at the association's forum, President of the Ghana Football Association, Keto Kreko, has emphasized the need to protect the country's football and prevent its destruction.
Our club owners and CEOs here know what football is about. And I know you know what your needs are. You deserve respect. You do not deserve lies. You do not deserve false propaganda. My brothers from Parliament deserve the truth. If you go to them and say, Kurt is MPP, Kurt is NDC, that is not the truth. That's not what they want to hear. They want to hear the problems of football, how football can be made better, and how we can collectively earn from our investments. I am humbled by the opportunity to serve all of you.
Well, so that is the president of the Ghana Football Association, Keto Kreko. Now, Ashanti Gold Sporting Club has been officially suspended by the GFA from all related activities. The motion was moved by administrative manager of Dreams FC, Aminu Shado, for the Boise-based outfit to be suspended. But Kemfaiso Bankrola Alhaji Abdul Karim Gruza protested in the reinstatement of the club. Well, the vote of 67 had to go in favor of the suspension, while 17 voted against the motion. Now, member of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Sports, Kobe Woyome, believes that there is something that could probably be done to reinstate Ashanti Gold into Ghana's top flight.
At the time when it was being done, I asked a colleague whether the committee in Parliament could not jump into it and try to see if they can save the situation. But already, the stage at which it got to meant the Congress was just waiting to affirm it, and it got affirmed. However, we would want to see how we can still do some boardroom discussions, because when you talk of Ashanti Gold, it's a big team. It has a huge following, corporate resources behind it, and all that. All of that add to the industry image. We might engage and see how and strategically what should be done for a possible reversal of it. I don't know, but the law has spoken. It's the law that has spoken. So it will be difficult for you to begin to say what they've done is wrong or something. But there is always a way to temper justice with mercy. And so on that score, we will see. So at the time
So that is it there from Kobe Woyome, who is a member of the Parliamentary Committee of Sports. And the Turkish Super League side, Fenerbahce, have announced the signing of Ghana international Alexander Diko. The experienced Black Stars defender leaves Strasbourg after spending a few years there. His departure marks the end of an era for the French side, while heralding a new era of possibilities. Now, Ghana under 20 team have also been beaten 2-0 by Burkina Faso in the ongoing WAFU Zone B under 20 Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. Ghana has 1 point and plays the final game against Cote d'Ivoire. A win for them, or someone will decide, will be eliminated. Entertainment news with Akofa.
Thank you very much, Kelvin, for that one. Coming up on the entertainment news segment here on Hot Edition, after an exhilarating and emotional 9-week journey, Bebelino and Grace emerged winners of the first ever Perfect Match Extra reality show. Right after the big announcement, the couple opened up about their relationship and the future they envision together.
So excitement up.
As at 4:30 p.m. on Sunday evening, the atmosphere at TV3 was charged with fans, mainly fans of Grace and Bebelino, who had already arrived for the finale. It's been 9 emotional weeks in the first ever Perfect Match reality show, filled with passion, heartbreaks, and self-discovery, and the couples have showcased their love and competed for the title. After
and officially becoming our 3rd place winners, or as we like to say, the 2nd runner-up. Etonam and Loveling.
After the eviction of Loveling and Etonam on the night, the ultimate spot was open to Kubela and Grelino. Spicing up the show were performances from Maya Blue, Famille, and the ever-versatile Camido.
Do some kind thing, make me feel some kind. Say, you know I'm not just trying to get laid, cause I know some kind chick to wait for the fight. Baby, make a fire. Oh, 60.
And this was the moment everybody was waiting for.
The winner of Perfect Match Extra Season 1 is Bebelino and Grace!
The couples opened up about their relationship and the future they envision together.
I mean, seriously, I wasn't expecting us to be, so for us to walk away being the winners, I mean, all I can say is thank you, Jesus.
Are you impressed with the kind of fan base you guys have gotten?
I mean,
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised because I didn't expect it to be so big like this. I thank everyone for coming through. I thank Bebelino fans for the boots and the love and the support. I thank everyone. Grace, are you optimistic that this will turn into an item?
Of course, you're already an item, so yeah.
Something that your fans are calling that you guys get married eventually. Is this something you foresee in the near future?
Of course, yes.
Congratulations!
Still on all things Perfect Match Extra, scores of fans of Grace and Bebelino showed up at the forecourt of TV3 at the final showdown of Perfect Match Extra. The announcement of the win was received with excitement by the charged fans who had gathered outside. Some share their excitement with 3 entertainment moments after the event came to a close.
The winner of Perfect Match Extra Season 1 is
fan. How has the experience been? Were you expecting your people, Gralino, Grace, and Bebelino to win?
Of course, I knew they were going to win because they came in. They knew nothing about this show, but they came in fish with their partners. But today we got to know that indeed they are very prepared to win. I knew that we were going to win. But what the drama is there, excitement, the nervous, the thing which they put it into, we knew that they were going to win. So we knew it. TBT, you have done well because we knew it. We knew we were going to win.
Now let me talk to this lady here. How do you feel? How are you feeling?
He's made it.
You can feel the excitement in the air. Yes, Gralino fans carried the day at the end of it all. Congratulations to Grace and Bebelino. And that will be all the entertainment news here on Hot Edition, powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa. Thank you for your time, and I will be back at 8 p.m. with Wind Down. Alfred?
So their hashtag was what? Bebe Grace?
It was Gralino. No, this one, we need to... What is Bebe Grace? No.
Then, if I'm wrong,
someone misled you. Yeah, it's Gralino. So Grace and Bebelino. So then they keep Gra and then Lino for Bebelino. So Gralino.
Oh, right.
What the heck did you just say? Bebe Grace.
Thank you so much for staying with us on Hot Edition. The drive continues with Giovanni, AJ, and DJ Faculty. Have a great evening.